How do you say sorry? Maybe a better question to ask would be, how should you say sorry? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi there! Thank you for checking out my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. If this is the first video that you're watching from my channel, I make educational and motivational content. So if you don't want to miss any of my new uploads, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Now this video right here is part of our Sunday motivation series. I did have an older video about this, pero medyo nagbago na rin yung ibang bagay. And I also want to use this as an opportunity to introduce something that we do here sa channel na to, which I haven't done in recent weeks, which is yung Sunday Motivation series natin, where I talk about things that matter to me. And ang extension din yan is the Trying Hard podcast, which is going to host din itong conversation na to. And that is also where I get to talk about the other things that I care deeply about, like what to do when you succeed, what to do when you fail, my tips when it comes to basically dreaming big and pursuing that dream. And you can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all major podcasting platforms. The links will also be in the description box sa baba. Okay, so this episode right here is a joint episode, if you think about it, because it's going to be up on YouTube. It's also going to be on the Trying Hard podcast, but the topic I feel really needs to be talked about. How do you say sorry? Okay, so that is what we're going to talk about sa episode na ito, and let me jump right in. All right, why do I feel the need to talk about this? I think a lot of the events that happened in the past few weeks brought this to light for me sa aking personal life, and also in the few conversations that I had with other people, including one really special episode that I got to guest sa show nila Stanley Chi and Doc Lyqa, which was Feelings. And we talked about how to basically handle a breakup, how to initiate a breakup, or what you could do after that. And one of the things that I had the honesty to share was how it was hard for me to accept apologies kapag it's poorly worded. Okay, what do I mean by that? Sometimes people apologize, but there's this feeling that you get na they don't mean it just because of the way that they say it or the words that they use. In one particular incident, wherein my ex, who will remain unnamed, did something that was very hurtful, and of course I told him about it. I'm not the type of person kasi na magtatampo-tampo or magpaparinig or magtataray until the guy feels na may something wrong. So I'm the kind of person who would really tell you na ito yung situation, what do you want us to do about it? And I told him that, okay, siguro sabihin na lang natin na seeing him be very physical with other girls was something that really hurt me. And what he said was, sorry kung nasaktan ka, sorry kung ganyan yung iniisip mo, and sorry na ganyan ka as a person, no? Ganun yung dating nung apology. And it really, really hurt me. And because nagkaroon ng kumaga mas visceral na memory dahil dun sa conversation na yon, I wanted to revisit this topic. What can we learn about this? Because I'm a huge fan in turning these situations na far from ideal into learning experiences. What can we learn about it when it comes to apologizing? So I have a few tips for you. So first part, we're going to talk about what makes for a great apology. And then yung next part would be, what would a real apology mean when it comes to what you do after it? Okay? So the first thing that we are going to talk about, this first half, would be, how do you say sorry? And the tip or my advice is actually quite simple. It's this: just say sorry. Sorry lang. Okay? Walang karugtong. Kasi I feel the problem arises when people add to saying sorry. Kaya sasabihin nila, sorry kung, sorry kung nasaktan ka, sorry kung ganun yung feeling mo, sorry kung ganun yung dating nung sinabi ko, when in fact, nasaktan sila. So you could just say, sorry, I hurt you. Another thing would be sorry kasi. Kasi a lot of people, what they do is they come up with excuses or reasons kung bakit nangyari yon, passing the blame to someone else. So don't say sorry kasi pinilit ako ng friends ko. Sorry kasi nakita mo, 'di ba? Kasi the problem is not in me seeing it or in why it happened. The situation is about him doing the offense. So, ibig sabihin kapag nag-apologize tayo, very important yung may ownership tayo dun sa nangyari, na tayo yung nakasakit. So, just say sorry, don't say sorry kasi. Walang reason, walang excuse. Another thing would be yung sorry pero. Okay? This is where we tread yung water na, no? Medyo dangerous na yung water na to, no? A lot of people say sorry pero, and usually, ang kasunod nun would be, sorry pero ikaw din naman. Sorry pero ito kasing pagkukulang mo kaya ako ito ginawa. And now, it's even worse kasi we're passing the blame to the person who was hurt. Sorry pero, di ba ganyan ka rin naman? Sorry pero madumi kasing isip mo eh. Yung ganon. So again, it could have ended with just a sorry. And when we say it in Filipino, it's even more tricky, no? Kasi sometimes people would say, sorry, nasaktan kita. Sorry, nakita mo yun. Okay? Sorry na. Yung na kasi, ang dating sa kanya is that the event was accidental. Diba? Sorry, nasaktan kita. Parang natapakan mo lang, diba? Nakasalubong mo sa daan, natapakan mo, hindi mo sinasadya. Yun, nasaktan talaga siya. Pero for you to be in an intimate relationship with someone, to be in a romantic relationship with someone, and do something that hurts them, hindi mo na siya nasaktan. Sinaktan mo siya. Masakit siya sa pandinig, mahirap siya tanggapin, mahirap siya aminin, pero that is what's required for a better apology. You have to own the fact that whether full yung intention or not, it was still you who hurt the person. So, hindi ka nasaktan. Sinaktan kita nang hindi ko nalalaman. Right? So again, always think about that when you're framing your apology. It's I think in many ways a cultural thing in that we weren't raised in families where apologies were done this way. But having a lot of exchanges with people and conversations with people, a lot of them difficult conversations. What I could say would be this: when we say that something is culturally like that, or ganun kasi Filipino siya, ganun kasi ganyan yung pamilya. What we have to understand is that this is the situation we are born into, but we are just one generation away from forgetting all of these things. So kung kunwari, pinanganak tayo in a family that apologizes this way, or we haven't even heard someone apologize properly in our lives, that doesn't mean that we couldn't change that one thing para sa susunod na henerasyon or para sa ibang tao. Even if it's going to be just you in your family who apologizes like that, then you could be a good start. And I say this kasi and again, this is just, alam niyo yun, how it is here, whether Sunday motivation videos or sa trying hard videos, I get really intimate and personal with you and honest with you. I would say this, no? Apologizing, verbally saying sorry is something that I really had a hard time with dati, especially when I was younger. And hanggang ngayon naman, matipid pa rin ako sa pagsusorry ko, lalo na in major things. But the motivation has changed. Dati, nahirapan ako mag-sorry kasi it really wasn't something that I enjoy doing. It was my pride. It was the fact that I was forced many occasions sa life ko to say sorry even when it wasn't my fault. Kaya medyo iba na yung feeling ng word sa akin. Pero ngayon, iba na yung motivation. If I am saying sorry, I really want to mean it. So I want to do it properly. So I have to sometimes take a step back, reframe my mind, really own up to the thing that I did wrong before I say sorry. Kasi saying sorry means, accepting whether tatanggapin nila yung apology or not. Walang demands, walang kahit ano, it's just a pure admission of guilt. So, I know it's hard, but I'm saying these things because I want to encourage you that it is possible to change. Okay? Now, we will move on to the second part of this conversation, which is going to be what do you do naman? Ano yung pinaka-parts ng isang apology even after saying sorry? Yan ang pag-usapan natin next, okay? Eto medyo madali lang tandaan. I turned them into all A's para may recall, okay? Para may mnemonic device tayo doon na gagamitin. When we talk about apologizing, since apologizing naman starts with an A, all of these are A. So 4 A's when it comes to apologizing properly. The first A is this, you have to acknowledge. Okay? Ano yung ibig sabihin acknowledge? You have to really acknowledge your part in it. Again, balikan natin yung sinabi ko kanina, which is, huwag natin gamitin yung words like nasaktan. Instead, we say sinaktan. Let's own yung sitwasyon. Let's own yung ating part in it. Even when you don't mean things, what you could say instead of, sorry, nasaktan ka, or sorry, na-misinterpret mo, would be, sorry that my words were hurtful to you. Okay? That way, again, ang fault pa rin is still on you kasi nakasakit ka. So again, number 1, acknowledge. And all of these things I'm sharing to you kasi I had to learn these things the hard way. And I'm hoping that you won't need to go through those things. Okay? So, okay, again, acknowledge your fault. Number 2, apologize. And yun yung pinag-usapan natin kanina. Again, sorry lang. Hindi sorry kung, sorry kasi, or sorry pero. So, do your apology. If you're unable to say it, you can write it down. Okay? You can film it, no? And send it to the person. As long as you said it well, just apologize. Say sorry. Okay? Now, ang maganda doon, if na-acknowledge mo na yung fault mo, when you apologize, you can actually say kung ano yung ginawa mong mali. And it brings a lot of healing to the person. You could say something like, sorry, I said it that way. And it hurt you. Sorry, that wasn't what I meant, but I understand how you would feel that way after hearing what I said. Sorry doon sa sinabi ko. Sorry, nagsalita ako habang galit. Okay? Sorry, pero hindi totoo lahat ng sinabi ko sa'yo. Hindi yun ang gusto kong sabihin. Sorry, I should have chosen my words better. Okay? Apologize. Part 3. This is, well, a lot of people say it's optional. Pero sa akin, it's actually very important. Lalo na kung yung offense is grave. Lalo na dahil may consequences itong mga to, when we hurt other people, consider making amends. That's another A. Okay? Amends. Ibig sabihin, kung nagkaroon ng cost dun sa person na yung ginawa natin, sabihin nyo lang, let me make it up to you. Okay? Kung kunwari, bumili na siya ng food, di ba, waiting for you and you were late, try to make amends. Ilibre mo rin siya, treat that person, cover yung fee, try to do something to fix it. Okay? So you really have to make amends. And a good way of doing this would be to ask them, like, paano ako makakabawi sa'yo? What can I do to make things better, to make you feel better? Would ice cream do the trick? Would talking to the person who is upset about this dahil sa ginawa ko? Kasi minsan ganun, di ba? Kung kunwari, nasa group work kayo or nasa opisina, yung ikaw yung na-late, di ba? At dahil na-late ka or hindi mo ginawa yung part mo, na-late na kayong lahat, di ba? So, nagalit na yung boss. Or sa school, minsan, hindi mo na ipasa yung part mo, kaya na-late na yung buong paper, kaya may deduction na yung buong group. You have to find a way to make amends. So, you can tell them, let me talk to your boss, let me talk to the teacher, let me find a way to fix this. So, yun yung amends. Okay? Now, some people would say, it's okay, don't worry about it anymore. That's great. But it's really important for you to offer that option. Okay? Now, yung number 4, I would argue is one of the most important things. But a lot of people don't do it. Kasi sa kanila, nakapag-sorry na ako, napatawad na ako, okay na yon. It's done already. Pero what I would say would be this 4th A matters when it comes to making sure that something like this doesn't happen again. Of course, posible pa rin na mangyari, pero at least may precaution na or meron ng mas mababang chances that it'll happen again. The 4th A is to address the root cause. Now, we're going to get a little bit deep here really quickly, but I think this all is going to lead into another separate episode. But the idea is, hurting people hurt people and are easily hurt by them. That's a quote from a book by John Maxwell. No? And that is under the pain principle. Basically, if you become hurtful to others, it's usually because you're hurt as well. Meron kang emotional baggage, meron kang bubog, there's a reason why you're like this. And if, for example, you hurt someone kasi you said something hurtful at a moment of anger, then obviously there are anger issues there. Why do you become verbally abusive when you're mad? Why are you always late? Diba? Saan nanggaling yung reason why you offended or hurt someone ba? Meron bang mas malalim na dahilan yan? And kung ano man yung dahilan na yun, it's very important for us to address it. Minsan, kasi, yung moment that we hurt someone or may nadamay dun sa mga nangyayari or ginagawa natin, magandang opportunity yon as a wake-up call to see na, okay, marami pa pala akong kailangan ayusin within myself. But that would only happen if we get to the point na may fullness na nung experience and we are now ready to see, okay, I need to address this. This is a weakness of mine. And let me share something that's true sa akin. No? You know, I noticed about myself na kapag pagod ako, kapag overworked ako, which honestly I'm prone to do, I get very, very sensitive. And when I'm tired, tapos na-offend ako or may trigger sa akin, I can get very hurtful when it comes to my words. Now, nasabi ko na rin naman before na meron ako experiences being bullied and eventually I became a bully myself. But one thing I learned about myself is that I can be very hurtful with my words. I remember I used to tell people this, you know, one of my abilities, and I'll call it that, abilities na lang, no? Kasi it really can be used for bad, and it's one of the things that scare me about myself. One of my abilities is to find someone's weakness and really use that against them, as in verbally point it out. And I have a tendency to do that whenever I'm tired and mad at the same time. And it took me a long time to really come face to face with that tendency of mine and piece together why I'm like this. And also come up with an action plan para I won't be like that anymore, or at least I can try to avoid situations na ganon. That involved walking away from the scenario kapag masyadong mainit yung ulo ko. I have a memorized line which is something like this. I would say, I'm so sorry. I don't want to say anything that I don't mean. I can feel it right now. Alam niyo yung parang nagpa-pump na yung heart mo, sobrang galit or medyo nagdidilim na yung paningin mo, umiinit na talaga yung ulo mo. Kapag nafe-feel ko na yan, I would say, I'm sorry, I need to walk away from this conversation right now. I'm really sorry. I need to do it kasi anything, may possibility na magiging hurtful ako. Like may mga masasabi ako na bagay na masasaktan ka, which I would regret at a later time. So please let me walk away from this conversation. And then I physically remove myself sometimes. Kasi umaabot sa point na ganun. And I already know that about myself. So ganyan yung fourth A. You have to address these issues. Saan galing to? Paano ko siya ma-avoid? And whether it's a small thing or a big thing, you can start putting up mga safeguards or guardrails. You can start setting up steps para hindi na siya mangyari ulit. I guess that is the goal naman when we make mistakes, that we learn from it. But if we keep going through life, not apologizing, not owning our mistakes, not making amends, and accepting the cost of the wrong that we did, not addressing yung root cause nung behavior na yon or nung kakulangan na yon or nung words that we use, sayang. Sayang yung opportunity na yon. And the truth is, mauulit at mauulit lang din siya. I guess we have to be more afraid of hurting the people around us so much that they become objects then or instruments of hate towards other people. So that is what we're trying to do in making sure that we apologize properly and that we go through the 4 A's. Yun lang naman yung gusto kong iwan sa inyo. And I know there's a lot to take in sa conversation na ito, but I'm hoping that you picked up a thing or two. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to follow the podcast And of course, you can also subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications para ma-update kayo kapag ready na yung new episodes on the YouTube channel. We will have more conversations like this soon. And again, if you want to share whatever you learned or if you want to add to this, you're free to use the hashtag Trying Hard with Lyqa. That's Trying Hard with LYQA. So we can find your feedback online. And of course, share this with other people if you feel that it's going to be helpful to them. And I will leave you with that question. Like, is there something that you need to apologize for right now? How will you do that? All right, so that's it. That's it for the podcast episode. And again, if you want to catch the other podcast episodes, we have a lot. I have had conversations with Joy Spring, a good friend of mine, my mentor, Attorney Janet Villa, Sir Shao Chua, and there are a lot of other people coming in. And of course, a lot of these difficult conversations with me. Go ahead and check out the Trying Hard with Lyqa podcast and join the yung Trying Hard podcast community. We have more coming up, and if you enjoy this, let me know in the comments. I don't always film myself when I record the podcast episodes, pero if you enjoy this and you want that to happen, let me know in the comments. Ipopost ko rin siya dito so you can watch and listen at the same time. And as we always say, in this channel naman, never stop learning. I hope you learned something from this video. Aja, kaya niyan. See you in my next video, and bye for now.